You're welcome to Nationwide. This evening we're coming to you from Medjugorje in Bosnia-Herzegovina, where 30 years ago it was reported that 6 local young people experienced apparitions of the Mother of God, and that story has since reverberated right around the world. 45 million pilgrims have travelled to this place of prayer in the hills over the past 3 decades, and these apparitions are the most studied in church history. Although still not authenticated by the Vatican and at present subject to more scrutiny, Medjugorje has been accepted as a place of prayer and worship. And the visionaries, who were all teenagers when the reported supernatural happenings began, have now emerged from an era of communism, survived ethnic cleansing in the Bosnian War, and grown to maturity. Through all of this, the Irish have continued to hold Medjugorje in high regard. More than 1 million have travelled from our country here over the years, and as you can see, there are some Irish pilgrims praying here in the churchyard of the statue of Our Lady. During the war years, the Irish went to extraordinary lengths to get here to do their pilgrimage. Also, Irish charities have carried out tremendous work here. Joining us now is a man whose second home, I suppose you could say, is Medjugorje. He's from Dublin, Philip Ryan, and he has been here for 22 years, guiding the pilgrims. Philip, what do you think it is that brings the Irish back here time after time after time?
I would say it's a desire for peace, Mary, a search for peace, a longing for peace. After 22 years, I would see a slight change in that desire for peace, and that for a big part of the last 30 years that Our Lady is appearing here, we had an extraordinary time in Ireland, a time of prosperity, a time where we felt very much at peace. And yet that was very quickly taken. The rug was snapped from under us. What we bought, we now are in debt to, and you can't buy peace.
Philip, the Irish traditionally come to Medjugorje in very large numbers. What kind of an effect on those numbers did the scandals in the church have?
I would say it's an issue that's very much in our thoughts and in our hearts, in everyone's thoughts. You couldn't be a Catholic, an Irish Catholic, and not feel that pain and shame. I feel it. Naturally, it has had an effect. I believe also in the Irish spirit, when we are challenged and when we are, especially in our faith, as we are now, the response is always to go in search of something deeper and to make sense of it. One thing that is struck me from the pilgrims that are coming here is the priests. They come here before they came here, and the priest was the centre of the pilgrimage. And while he is now a fundamental part of the pilgrimage, because without the priest we don't have a pilgrimage, it is now he is feeding from the pilgrims, from their faith, from their strength, and from their trust. When they stand on the altar, they see that pain in the people's eyes, so it's there. And the pilgrims that are coming here, I believe, in such numbers, carry with them that prayer, and also I believe that sense of hope that we can and will move on from this in some way.
What do you say to people who at best think this is impossible, who the less polite might say it's nuts and it's just ridiculous?
There's nothing you can say. Someone quoted once that to those who believe, evidence is not necessary. To those who don't, evidence would never be enough. And I believe, for those who don't believe, that this is for them. And for those who don't believe, I would say we need to be a sign that God does exist.
As I said at the beginning of the programme, more than 1 million Irish people have come here to Medjugorje in the past 30 years, and this is an important part of the week of pilgrimage. It's the climb up to the top of the 1,000 feet high Mount Krishevats. Now, it's not easy. It's a penitential climb following the Stations of the Cross over very rough and difficult terrain in the baking sun. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that this was a tough climb. The heat is incredible. The terrain is very rough. But what's remarkable is that everybody is climbing in a very quiet and peaceful way. And it's lovely to be coming across different groups who are praying in a different language. There's German, there's Italian and many other languages as well. And all of the Irish pilgrims are doing it with great enthusiasm and a great sense of peace. There are people of all ages, different shapes, different sizes. Some people are doing it in sandals, some in runners, and even some in their bare feet.
Personally, it's to help you make a good confession, prepare for confessions. That's basically it.
So it's part of a penitential rite that you pursue. Yeah. And the mountain itself, how do you feel when you're climbing the mountain and praying?
Well, you feel at peace, and it's like, I suppose the whole thing about out here is it's like any journey, the journey of life. There's stock taking to be done. If you're in business, you do it once a year. You come to Medjugorje, you do it here.
Mount Krishevats translates as Cross Mountain, and you'll be glad to know that all of the Irish pilgrims who started out with us have made it here to the summit. One of them is Michael Small. Michael, it's a very different way of doing the stations.
It is a different way, yeah, but you know, when you look at the stations and to see the way they're depicted, you know, it really brings it home to you what Jesus has done for us. You know, I remember some time ago we had a lady, a good friend of mine, and she came to the 7th station and she went down to her knees and she said, "Oh Jesus," she said, "how did you do it?" You know, and we all left, you know, but she was serious.
I implore you, Jesus, Lord, hear my prayer.
Only 3 of the visionaries claim to still have daily apparitions. They are Ivan, who we'll be meeting in a little while, Vitska and Marija. Now, Mariana lives in here and she claims to have an apparition of the Mother of God on the 18th of March and also on the 2nd of every month. I'm going to go in now and have a chat with her. What happens to you personally during an apparition?
I don't know, because many of the doctors examine, I think, us during the operation, but I don't feel my body. I don't feel myself. I only seeing her, and I want that this will be for always. I have 2 daughters, and I will give my life for them. But when I am with Blessed Mary, I don't remember even my daughters. I only want that she looking me and that I can looking her. I think that this is feeling of heaven, because if you forgetting your children, I think that is possible only in heaven. People ask me, did you touch Blessed Mary? Did she touch you? Never, but I don't feel need for this, because when she looking you, you can feel it, you have feeling that she kissing you, that you are loved, somebody care about you. You have all this beautiful feeling.
What do you say, Mariana, to people who cannot believe that you see the Mother of God?
When I was child, when apparition started, you know that we was living in Yugoslavia in communism regime, and I have so many problems, more than another visionary, because they was here in Medjugorje, where is all Catholic and Croatian people. Police turned me in Sarajevo, and I was very, very much problems. Everyday police in my home, my parents, my brother. I never know if I will be alive tomorrow. And on this situation, when somebody tell me, I don't believe, it was hurt me very much, because I must to be not normal, to saying lie and to doing all these things to myself and to my family. But the doctor said that we are normal. And I was suffering because of this. Now I'm sorry for these people, because you losing time, believe me or not believe me. Don't lose time, because you never know when is your moment. Today you are here, tomorrow maybe you will be in front of the God. And if you're listening, Blessed Mary, if you're following her, you will see God. And if you're saying, I don't believe, and these things, this discussion and everything, I'm sorry because of this.
The apparitions happen at 20 to 7 for the three visionaries who claim to still have a daily experience. And this is Ivan's chapel in his garden in Medjugorje. He has given nationwide permission to go inside along with some visiting pilgrims to see what happens during his apparition. Medjugorje is still under investigation by the Vatican. There are hundreds of reports of spiritual miracles and healings. Dubliner David Parks came here in 1989. He was given just 2 weeks to live. Tonight, here in the John Paul II Parish Hall, he's preparing to host an evening of prayer through song. David, when you came here in 1989, what was wrong with you and what happened?
I arrived in Medjugorje, 99 pounds in weight, Mary. I suffered with a very serious illness called Crohn's disease. I had 10 major surgeries, and the doctors at that point gave me 14 weeks to live. So by the time I got here, I'm just 2. I was very blessed. I came with a very special priest from Chicago called Father Peter Mary Rookie, who's got great intercessory powers of healing. And in the graveyard at the back of the Church of St. James, through his intercession, I had a physical healing.
Formerly, you had been a professional footballer, a professional singer, and now you're working for Marian Pilgrimages. That's a big change, David.
It is, yeah. The soccer I loved, my first love. I played against Pele, George Best, Bobby Charlton, represented my country. So at the age of 27, to have to give it up because of the illness was just heartbreaking.
Working for Marian Pilgrimages, what's that like?
It is again a total life change. I would never have expected to be working here. I feel that I was healed to sing. I love it.
We're back climbing again, this time on Apparition Hill, and this is the place where it was reported that the 6 young children saw the Mother of God for the very first time. The pilgrims come and they say the rosary here. There are mysteries and they're depicted at various spots where they stop, and a priest, for instance Father Brendan O'Sullivan, who's a priest from Longford, will give out a decade of the rosary.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Father Brendan, you've come from Longford how many times?
This is about my 10th trip to here.
And why?
I always feel it's just a place to come and pray quietly, to find a little time of reflection for oneself. And more often than not, over the last few years, I've brought a group with us, a group of pilgrims, many of them young people. And this year we are come as a small group of 4, just to take a week of prayer for ourselves. So we're very glad to be here, and I always find it as a place of reflection for myself personally.
What's your reaction to people at home who, when you mention Medjugorje, say it's a place for religious fanatics?
There are fanatics in every walk of life. And Can I just say, Medjugorje to me is a place that I found, one of the things that touches me deeply here is the faith of the local people. You cannot describe a pilgrimage to somebody who has never been. I think one of the greatest experiences for any one of us is to come and do it.
Why did you choose to do it in your bare feet?
Just for all the tensions of everybody back home. You know, when I was leaving to go to Medjugorje, like, everybody was saying, say a prayer, light a candle, and I said, I'll go on my bare feet. That's my way of praying for all back home.
Irish charities have contributed a lot to Bosnia-Herzegovina, both during and after the war. Rebuild for Bosnia, for instance, has provided homes for 2,500 people and spent €4.5 million raised both at home and internationally. And Patricia Keane from Kildare is a co-founder of the charity. Patricia, you've brought us here to what can only be described as a shining example of the work that you do.
Yeah, this is Hadbana, and it's one of 4 villages. Over 12 years we've built over 100 houses, and this is the latest one. We just got the last house finished a couple of months ago. The last family moved in, and all of these families have been living in refugee shacks for 15 years.
So the refugee camp is still open?
The refugee camp is still open, and there used to be 118 families in it, and there are still 68 families living in the camp, and there's lots more work to do. Hey! This is Daniel. He's 9. He's making his Holy Communion tomorrow. He was born a month premature, put into an incubator, contracted meningitis in the incubator. They did a spinal tap on him and infected the spinal fluid during the tap. Developed cerebral palsy, and it affected his brain. And the paediatrician said he's the only child that she's ever seen where the brain reversed itself. So they've been hugely proactive in getting him therapy, and he's now walking on his
Good
walker.
for him, and a
He's
big
so
day
proud.
tomorrow, Daniel.
I'm going to introduce you to 2 Maras.
2 Maras?
2 Maras, yeah, and the older women are called Baba Mara. Mara Belazovic, Mary, both of them were cleansed from Koinitz, a Catholic town that had 15,000 Catholics in it. Today there's 1,500 left. They moved many times, lived in the mountains for 6 months, and ended up in the refugee camp for 10 years, and they came here when we built their houses. When we hand over the houses to these women, they're in their 70s, and they still have to make it on their own. They have to come out here every day, and they dig that soil, they grow their vegetables. We can't continue to support them. They have to do it for themselves.
Hello. Dormadan. How are you? Good to see you.
Another Irish person who's been making a difference in Bosnia-Herzegovina, where, by the way, the sun has gone in, and I think we're going to have a thunderstorm very shortly, is Leishman Arthur McCluskey, who through his charity St. Joseph and the Helpers has been changing the lives of people who were affected by the war. Arthur, this grandparents' home is one of your projects. Where have they been living up to this?
Well, they were displaced around the place, really. I've seen many of them. A lot of them were refugees, and they come from other parts of the country, and they had grandchildren in the local orphanages. And even though you would say that it was a joy for them to move from where they were, it was a job getting them out of their homes, because they were I suppose, like the Irish people were 60 years ago. I mean, we didn't hear of nursing homes. We were looking after people in their homes. But now there's a waiting list, and all the people are so happy here. Not only have the balconies overlooking Mount Crucifix. They could look straight onto Mount Crucifix, Apparition Hill. This is a home of absolute love.
Are there other projects that you're involved with?
Oh yeah, we built a community hall in conjunction with Father Svet at the Mother's Village Orphanage, which is in Medjugorje. We're also involved with other charities, including one called Miracles, run by an Englishman called Matthew Proctor. And they do wonderful work. They fit on prosthetic limbs onto people who've lost limbs during the war. This man, Nihad, lost his leg when he was 18 in a landmine. We're very, very pleased as a charity to help all three ethnic groups here. We help Serbs, we help Croats, we help Muslims, and we're very, very proud of that.
The Irish connections with Medjugorje take many forms. For instance, Donna McGettigan from Letterkenny in County Donegal is married to a local man, Maka Ostowicz. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yay. So, Donna, it was love that brought you here, was it?
No, it wasn't love that brought me here, Mary. I came out in the early 80s as a pilgrim, just to see what was happening out here and check it out for myself, because I'd heard so much about the apparitions of Medjugorje.
And when did you meet Maka then?
I didn't meet Maka until I decided to come back here on a job as a guide for Irish pilgrims in '88.
What is it about Medjugorje as a pilgrim place that appeals to you?
Medjugorje is like no other village. Medjugorje is a special place because of the apparitions of Our Lady. When I came to Medjugorje first, it was a very small village. There was a dot on the map. There was a dirt track as a main street. There was no shops. There was no restaurants. There was no hotels. It was a dirt track leading to the church, and from there to the mountains. There was a couple of hundred houses. It was a small village, something down the west of Ireland.
Is the development a good thing?
It's a necessary thing, Mary. There's thousands that are coming here every year. They have to sleep somewhere. It's the pilgrims that are coming here that have demanded for the developments in Medjugorje. It's a demand-supply situation. It's an economic answer to a huge influx of pilgrims. It's a necessity. If there were no pilgrims, Medjugorje wouldn't have extended. There was no way it was going to expand in any direction if it hadn't been for the apparitions of Our Lady.
The Catholic Church has been studying Medjugorje for many years now. It is in fact the most scrutinised of all the Marian shrines. And through all of this time, the Franciscans, who are the priests of this parish, have stood loyal despite interrogation, imprisonment and other people's doubts. Father Svet is the coordinator who looks after English-speaking pilgrims. Father Svet, what's your experience of the Irish pilgrims who come here in large numbers?
Here I'm a little bit... This is very much a personal question. Irish pilgrims are very special to me. They bring Ireland here. Everything what a person in Ireland is, when they come here, they are that in a very special way. They bring their love for the country, they bring their goodness, their songs, their faith and their prayer, and all that when they come here in a very special way, like in the encounter with Jesus, all that is being multiplied. So that is why the Irish pilgrims are happy to come.
It is very unusual to see a group of men in a place like this. Normally it would be on a golfing trip or sailing or something like that.
It is, but we do this just for our own good. Jerry, a friend of ours, he's come here since '87. He started with Jerry, and then this year we're coming for support from Michael. He's another friend of ours who lost his wife tragically this time last year.
I can't thank the guys enough. They've been a fantastic support to me. I lost my wife very tragically last year. Just walking along the street, lovely sunny day, spring day, truck comes along, knocks down a branch and kills her in the street. Just shows you how life can be. So at times like that, you look for something beyond the normal. So the guys suggested that I come with them, and it's been fantastic.
And so we come to the end of this special edition of Nationwide to mark the 30th anniversary of the reported Marian apparitions in Medjugorje. I hope we've given you some insight into the place, the people, and the reasons why pilgrims come here from all around the world. 45 million of them since 1981, and more than 1 million of those from Ireland. There's no doubt, therefore, that the place has its supporters. It also has many detractors, and we look forward to hearing what the future holds for Medjugorje. No matter what, there's no denying that it's a very welcoming place, the people are delightful, and the atmosphere is one of peace. Iwahagwif.